Okay, so this week I was talking to a pastor friend of mine that is a cowboy and raised on a ranch and everything, but he's a traditional church pastor. And listen, pastors can talk together differently than like pastors and congregants can a little bit, and we just kind of bounce things off of each other. And he was telling me a story. And it was an older pastor talking to a younger pastor, or I don't know if he was younger, but another pastor, about some things that are maybe a little bit unique to those in ministry. And the guy goes to this older pastor that's a mentor, he's retired, and he tells him the problem, and the older pastor looks at him and goes, "First time, huh?" Which reminded me, I don't know what movie it is, but there's a movie, and I don't even know that I watched it. Maybe it was a clip, and I think it was, I can see the actor's face. But they're on the gallows, right? And they're standing up there, and they're fixing to die, and it's kind of going down the line of them putting the nooses on, and they put all the nooses on, and finally this one guy, he turns to the next one and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And the guy looks at him and goes, "I'm about to die. How do you think I'm doing?" And the guy, just as calm as can be, looks at him and goes, "First time, huh?" First time can be scary. Now, of course, he's an outlaw, and the guys come, and, they get him out before he, hangs, and he's rescued and all of that, right? But, I feel that in my bones. Because if you come talk, I don't want to say if you come talk to me, I get to talk to people from all over this country. And listen, the things that you're going through are not unique to you. I could have probably just counted them up, but there's only 5 or 6 things that people talk to pastors about. Now, the situations are unique, but they fall into the same buckets. And fortunately, being a preacher means I have lived in each of those buckets and had to climb out of those buckets just like everybody else will. And a lot of times when something happens, I remember Tyler Lowe that used to work for us, we were going to have a Sunday night service. And actually it was this day right here. And I say this day right here, I know it's this day right here, because the next 2 Sundays, very important, is the Elbert County Fair. We will be at the ranch the next 2 Sundays, okay? But we were going to have a Sunday night service. Well, the fair thought we were done, and the fair came in here and started setting everything up before our Sunday night service. And so when Tyler gets here, man, he is just all sorts of discombobulated because, it's not going to be the same. We're going to have to do it in the conference room. And he's like, "I don't know if I can do this." He's like, "It's just too much. It's just too much." And I literally went, "First time, huh?" And I looked at him. I said, "Tyler, this is what it's about. You still have to go preach, even if you stick your foot in your mouth or the room explodes. You're going to be okay, right?" Listen, I talk to people who are scared and hurting all the time. We all have problems. Parents have trouble with kids of all ages. Kids have trouble with parents of all ages. There's marriage problems, relationship problems, work problems, people problems, friend problems, livestock problems, ranch problems, business problems. Listen, we've all got them, right? We've all got them. They can range from hard to crushing. And what are these things? They're called the trials of life. And you are not immune from them because you follow Christ. You are not. Just because you have a deep and unwavering faith in God does not mean that you're not going to go through a bog that's 40 miles wide, 30 miles long, and 12 miles deep. These are called the trials of life. And I don't know what you're going through, but I'm willing to bet that today's clinic is just for you. How do I know that? Because today's clinic is for those that are going through trials of life, or have gone through a trial of life, or will go through a trial of life. So I think today's clinic is for everybody. Most importantly, it's for me. I always get the most out of all of this because I can only tell y'all a 30-minute part of it. I get the 7-hour version of it. Right? Okay. So let's get into the trials of life. This is going to be a 3-part series that I've titled First Time, right? But today's is called The Edge of the Impossible. The Edge of the Impossible. See, everyone's Christian walk, let's say the trail that you're on, right? I think there's kind of some misconceptions that there's an actual path to follow. Listen, that's not how it works. The way it works is you're right here, and God gives you a spot way over there, and He goes, I want you to go there. And you're like, well, how do I get there? And God says, oh, walk. Get a horse. Get in a plane. I don't care. Just go over there. And so that journey from one part to another is not mapped out for you. You have to just go with God. And listen, sometimes you're going to pick a good trail. Man, like I wish everybody could do what me and Ty and Dale and some of these, Don if he's here, all these people have done. Like you get up on the side of a mountain or something and you see cattle way down there. Well, listen, the Forest Service doesn't go put stairs and escalators down there to the bottom for you. You have to find a way down there. And during that journey, you could run across grizzly bears, rattlesnakes, an outlaw. Like, there's so many things that can happen on this journey. Okay? But when you're going from one place to a next, that trail, and I'm not saying a marked out trail, whichever way you choose to go across from point A to point B, listen, you're going to run across some cracks. Okay, you're going to be walking along and you're going to see this crack and you're going to take a look at it and go, ooh, boy, that goes way down there. Don't want to step in that one, right? But as you continue to go, we just keep seeing all of these cracks that don't know what they are, and we avoid them and we walk over them, right? And we just continue down the trail. But as we ride, those cracks get wider, deeper, longer, and scarier. And those things don't seem to have a bottom. See, in 1 Corinthians 10:12, it says this, so the man who thinks he's standing steady had better get off and check his cinch or he'll fall. Because, see, those cracks are telling you things. But we ignore the cracks. We step over them. We don't try to do anything with them. But when you don't do anything with them, they get bigger and they get bigger and they get bigger until one day you're going to reach a crack and it's going to be from here to there. It's going to be like 7 to 10 feet across there. So what do? You got to get back, take a run and jump, and you leap over it and you catch your elbows on the other side. And you barely scramble up and you're like, my gosh, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And you turn around and there's one that you can't see the other side. What do you do now? No longer can you take a running jump and clear that. You know it and God knows it too. Cracks are everywhere. Chasms are not. See, cracks don't change your life, okay? Chasms do, one way or another. Listen, I can give you the whole clinic in one sentence, okay? The trial is not the impossible chasm. I know that seems weird. You reach a point that you've struggled to get past these things, and then you reach one that's impassable. That seems like the trial, but it's really not. That's not the trial. See, the trial is not the impossible chasm. It's the decision that you make at the edge of it. That's the trial. That's the trial. And that decision comes down to one word: trust. Standing at the edge, who do you trust? Your abilities and the way you see things? Or do you want to trade that all for what's behind door number 2, the one that sees the past, the present, and the future, the one that said that you are loved, the one that said you are cared for, the one that said He would care for you and love you and never leave you nor forsake you? Do you trust that? Or have you just heard that? The trial is not the impossible chasm. It's the decision you make at the edge of it. So, what happens at the edge? So, what do you do when you hit a seemingly impossible situation? I mean, seriously, have you ever just got to a point in your life and you're just like, I have no idea what to do right now. Like, if I go this way, I'm going to get eaten by bears. If I go that way, I'm going to get bitten by snakes. And if I go this way, I'm going to fall down into a bottomless pit. What do you expect of me, God? And I know that every single one of us at some point in time has had that thought in some form or fashion. What do you do when you hit a seemingly impossible situation? Like what? How about moving on after a bitter betrayal by family or a friend or a coworker? You ever been betrayed? I mean, just stabbed plumb in the back. How do you feel about that person now? Right? How about losing somebody close to you? That seems like an impossible situation. What happens in those situations when you have prayed, you have read the Bible, and you still don't know what to do? What happens at the edge for the Christian in an impossible situation? Let me give you the answer. Usually nothing. Usually nothing. Not because we don't want to do something, we're just locked down with just not sure what to do. Because number one, we're afraid of making what? The wrong decision. Listen, if you are afraid of making the wrong decision, you don't trust the one that helps you make them. See, we're more worried about making the wrong decision than following the one that has the right one. And I am just as guilty as the next person about I just don't know what to do because this and this and this and this. Listen, I'm there too. But usually what happens at the edge is nothing. Not because we don't want to do something. We're just not sure how. Sometimes when we're at the edge, things like this cross our mind, and sometimes it comes out of our mouth. Like, well, I just can't do this. I don't know what God expects of me. I've tried everything. Nothing has worked. I guess God's just mad at me because there's no way across and I can't do anything. Rah, rah, rah. Or maybe I'm just not strong enough to do this. I don't feel strong enough to walk this path that God has laid out because I'm walking it and now I've reached an impossible situation and I thought He was always going to be here for me. Listen, you want to know why that's so hard and why it seems so impossible? Because nobody's ever done it before. Now, your situation might not be different than somebody else's, but nobody has ever walked the path with God that you are walking. Nobody ever has taken every turn, experienced every situation, gone through every hard time. Nobody's ever done it before. You know why nobody has the answer? Because nobody's ever done your situation. Nobody grew up with the trauma that you grew up with, or nobody grew up in the place and with the struggles that you did. That's why it seems impossible, but there's only one person. See, the Bible says with man it is impossible, but with God all things are possible. See, it's only impossible when we look through it through our viewpoint, through what we think, what we can see, what we can deduce. Man, you're trying to play solitaire with 4 cards. And you wonder why you're losing? You don't have all the cards. Who's got the rest of them? Well, of course, we know who it is. It's God. He's got all the cards. You're worried about because you've got 2 twos, an ace, and an Uno card. And you card. Yeah, draw 4. Yeah. And it seems like the devil only has draw 4s. Right? And we're sitting there holding like 65 cards. No, not really. But you get the point. Like, we're trying to play poker with 1 card. And we're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And God's like, shut up. I have the other 2 matches. You're going to have a full house by the time I'm done with you. And all you can see is a 2. It's all you can see is a 2. You can't see God's hand. He's playing with you. Let Him play with you. He said, in this poker game, he leans, hey, don't worry about this. I already know we win. How do you know, God? I've already seen it. I know what cards He has. I know what cards we have. Yeah, but I'm worried because I've only got a 2. I think that's how God feels with us sometimes. But doesn't that make sense? Like, we don't know everything. It's impossible within our realm. But God is not in that. I mean, God's like, oh, impossible chasm. Boop, boop. Nothing is impossible for God. We're the ones that make it impossible, right? And listen, I hate it when I do this to people, and I have done it. And by me saying that, I'm going to say this. I hate it when you do it to people too. Because see, sometimes you're going to find out that somebody's going through a hard time, a special case, a chasm, not a crack, a chasm, right? And you're going to go to that person and you're going to try to tell them how you feel about it. And the first words out of the mouth are, well, if you just do this, right? How many times have you heard somebody say that? Well, you can just throw all that out the window because they mean well, but they don't know what your chasm is. They can't understand the scope of it. They can't understand the depth of it because they don't understand the trail that you've been walking for however many years you've been walking it. Let me give you an illustration of how different people have different chasms. What if I told you, hey, listen, Buford, my name is God, and I've got a thing for you to do. Okay, God, what is it? I need you to single-handedly go fight 450 devil worshipers by yourself. Buford's like, I got this, God. Now, Buford in Hebrew is Elijah, okay? That's what God said to Elijah. He's like, hey, I want you to go do battle with 450 satanic priests that kill babies. And Elijah's like, done, got it, bet. He wins the whole thing. Then kills every one of them. And then one woman says, I'm going to get you for that. And I mean, he's just like, all the way to Mount Sinai. I mean, he just fought 450 devil worshipers. And one woman's threat sent him over the edge. See, that doesn't seem like a chasm to you. But do we think that we're better than Elijah? Of course not. See, he reached a chasm. He reached a chasm. He makes it through his trial, across his chasm, the same way you will. See, he listened when he got down to that cave, hiding out. He told God, I'm the only one that follows you. Everybody else stinks. Everybody else is calf worship and pukes. I'm so alone. I wish I could just die. Right? And then something happened. Something very unsettling. And that unsettling part is the key part. Because you've heard it. You've heard it in your life before. Just like Elijah heard it, no differently. He heard an unsettling, still, small voice that said, trust me. Trust me. Unsettling is the right word. It's that voice that won't let you stay put. It unsettles you. It's the small voice that makes you do hard things. You ever heard that? I think you have because you're here. The same voice that led you here led Elijah across a chasm. A still, small voice. Now, how can a still, small voice be unsettling? I racked my brain, and this is the best illustration I can come up with. Got to clear my throat for this. Anybody hear that? Must have been some beep. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The low battery on a smoke detector. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the night and you have diarrhea. You are going to drive to Walmart and either buy shotgun shells or a 9-volt battery because you do not have one in your house. Why don't they put why don't you just make AA and AAA for everything? You know? So anyway, and did you know what that beep is actually what it is? It's the death cries of a 9-volt battery from a smoke detector sucking the life out of it. And if there's an ounce of grace and mercy in your body, you will go put that thing out of its misery. I mean, think about the little tiny cries for help as it passes away. And now with coconut, you will never think of smoke alarm batteries the same way. May God have mercy on y'all's people's souls that do not put them out of their misery. Listen. God's still small voice works the same way. It just unsettles you. And listen, here's the other thing. Nobody else can hear it except you. And you're going to tell people about what you heard, and they're going to like, I didn't hear that. You don't hear that? No, they don't, because it's just for you. That still small voice unsettles you until you do something about it. See, a lot of times when we reach the end of that chasm, we just wait. Because we don't know what to do. It's not that you don't want to follow God. You just don't know what to do. Well, you must listen to that still, small voice that tells you, you still got to get across and go that way, right? We listen to a voice, one that beckons us beyond our fears, one that calls us to follow even if we're the only ones who do. One whose voice speaks to our soul despite the pain in our hearts. You hear the shepherd's voice, that still small voice, and then you go get back on. In John 10, verses 27 and 28, Jesus says that. He says, "My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they'll never perish, and nobody will snatch them out of my hand." Now, it says you will not perish. So why don't you walk across? Because you're scared that you're going to perish. But what did God say? That they'll never perish. He's got the full house flush. Is there a full house flush? I don't know. I'm not a poker player. He's got like 5 of a kind, right? Wait, Jesus, you can't have 7 of a kind. Jesus is like, bet. Do whatever I want to, right? But it says that they shall not perish. See, the chasm is not the trial. The trust is. And if you know God said to go that way, and there's no way around, there's no way over, there's no way under, that means you just walk. And if you look down, guess what? You'll go where you look. If you keep your eyes on God, and you don't worry about what's down there, you just keep your eyes focused on Him, going where He tells you to go. It'll be scary at first because it's your first time, but you'll just keep your eye on God, and you'll just walk, and you'll do things the way He wants them done, not the way you think they should be done. And you just walk in faith. And if you do that, here's what's going to happen. You're going to turn around one day and look back, and you have crossed that chasm, and you didn't even know it. Because see, when your eyes are on the impossible situation, it remains an impossible situation. If you keep your eyes on God, in whom all things are possible, there's no chasm that you cannot cross. And listen, if God leads you to a chasm, He will lead you across it as well. It doesn't take more Bible study. It doesn't mean that you have to suddenly do a reading plan of read the Bible in 8 hours. You know, that's not going to work. Okay? What's going to work is for you to trust Him. And then, and only then, will you see what has changed. Okay? See, the trial that had stopped you has become the trail that rescues you. Did you hear who was doing the talking at the edge of the chasm? I can't do this. I. A for the Almighty, L. But when you put God first and you put the Almighty before the I, your trial then becomes your trail. And you will be able to walk over chasms that have stopped people for years. And they're going to come to you and they're going to ask you, how can you do that? And you're going to look at them and go, first time, huh? And you're going to help them. Not by fixing their problems, but by fixing their priorities. Fixing their priorities. John 14:6. Jesus says, I'm reading it out of the Simplified Cowboy version, I am the trail, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through the Son. Listen, your trials will become your trails. Or your trial will become a prison of I. Right? That's what trusting Him means. Is not in a certain situation, in every situation. And listen, what is the goal of your life? Think about this. What is the goal of your life? Let me tell you mine and why it has helped me. My only, I'll say only, the priority that rules every single thing I do is love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. That is what I hope to accomplish. But what will be accomplished is the goal. And my goal is to meet Jesus. So if I've got an impossible chasm, I'm not going to perish. Even if I fall in there and my body dies, that's just the one-way ticket to meet Jesus. I'm sorry, guys. Sign me up. Find a new preacher. And I don't mean that ugly, but that is my goal, is only Jesus. And when your only goal is Jesus, these other things have no more power over you. I didn't say they weren't there. I didn't say it wasn't scary. I didn't say it wasn't hard. I just said they have no power over you. The only time the trials of life have power over you is when you are staring at them and not looking to God. And when you get real good at that, you come teach me how to do it, okay? It's our life, right? James 1:12 in the Simplified Cowboy version says this: God's got the man who stays in the saddle through the testing. Once he's come through and proved out, he gets the crown of life, the one God promised to everybody that loved him. Is your goal in life worldly things? Or is your goal in life to glorify God so completely that when you meet Him face to face, He's not going to say, man, you built a pretty good business there, didn't you? Boy, you sure had a nice house. See, what I want Him to say is, well done, my good and faithful servant. Come and enter into your rest. Rule and reign with me as we become one. Never to be tired, never to hurt again, never to be sad, never to be unsure again. All of that waits for the one that trusts in God. I worked at a horse auction in Lubbock right out of high school, and I fancied myself a cowboy, and I wanted to be a bronc rider because that's what I was kind of good at. So there was a fella that I met there. His name was Charlie Thompson. He was the stock contractor there in the Lubbock area. And we used to go out, and it was like you pay $5 or $10 and you get on his horses and, go out there and get creamed and everything like that. But one day at the practice ride, he looked at me and goes, hey, you work at Jack's auction, don't you? I said, I do. He goes, I'm always looking for some new bucking horses. He said, I tell you what, I'll call Jack. And I'm going to call you on Tuesday. That's the auction day. He said, I'm going to call you on Tuesday if I can't make it. And if you find 2 or 3 pretty good stout horses that you think can buck, if they're under $500, just use my number and buy them for me. So he called me couple of weeks later on a Tuesday, because we load all the horses in the back, so we know about them before the auction came in. He called me, he goes, is there anything? I said, yeah, there's a couple that they're not halter broke or nothing like that, just big old stout colts. And he goes, well, if they're under 500, get them for me. I said, okay. He said, if you do this for me, I'll pay you back and I'll let you get on some bucking horses for free. I was like, bonus, right? I had to work like 4 hours to get on one horse back then when we made like $2.09 an hour, right? Work all day to get bucked off in 4 seconds. But listen, that little offer, I'll let you get on bucking horses for free if you help me out. I vividly remember that conversation, especially as I found myself bloody, broken, and in the middle of a full stupid asthma attack, and somebody somewhere in the universe says, are you ready? I screamed, I'm dying, get me out of here. And I heard somebody else says, I think that means yes. Come back to the ranch next week and I'll tell you what happened. Father, some of us are standing at the edge of something impossible this morning and we've been doing all the talking. So we'll hush now and listen to that still small voice. God, you lead, and we'll follow you across, no matter the chasm or the consequences. And it's in Jesus Christ's name we pray for the courage to do so. Amen.